Who is the best player in the world right now? For many years, over a decade, that question was pretty simple. It was either a choice of two people, Messi or Ronaldo, for the longest time. Now we're entering into a new era where age eventually and sadly gets the better of all of us, and one day we will all die. But ignoring that existential threat, who is the best footballer in the world in 2025? I thought about this and I actually don't know. I asked friends of mine and they all gave me very different answers. So let's look into it. Now realistically, I think you can maybe give multiple players, 7, 8 players that you could say is the best player in the world right now. But in terms of the Ballon d'Or, you're really looking at only 3 or 4, unfortunately. That's just based on how the Ballon d'Or works. If you was to ask me who I think the best player in the world is right now, I think it'd be a very different answer to yours. So comment down below who is the best player in world football right now, not ignoring who you think will win the Ballon d'Or, just the best player in the world right now. And even the idea of separating the two, of like the Ballon d'Or winner and the best player in the world, are seemingly two different concepts based on what you do in certain competitions at certain times. Comment down below, like, subscribe, Mozilla Designs for the best football prints, all made by myself, all that good stuff. Use code Vizeh for 50% off all items. And let's get into it. So what I've got here is a list of players which I have looked at and felt deservingly should be deemed as the best player in the world right now. And each of these players have different reasons. A player which I truly believe can be seen as one of the best players in the world right now is one which you may not expect me to say, but each time I watch him, maybe it's because of the age of the player is what just strikes me the most. But Lamine Yamal just comes to my mind immediately of just pure football. It is like the great Lionel Messi, Haaland Ballon d'Or debate, that Haaland, because he's not aesthetically as pleasing on the ball, that's how can he potentially ever win the Ballon d'Or, or how can he be seen as the best player in the world if he can't really dribble the ball that well. And Lamine Yamal is basically the opposite of Haaland. He is the Messi. He is incredible. Right now his stats may not be Messi level, of course, but considering his age and considering what I believe is his impact, and when you watch him play the game, it is exactly what football should be. He is, for me, the future of football. Not once have I ever watched Barcelona in La Liga or watched them in the Champions League and not look at Lamine Yamal and think, how the hell is he this good? And the cult of Yamal is growing week by week. We saw a massive boost, of course, during the European Championships, which he helped Spain win the Euros. That shows how much of a clutch player he is as well. Rodri, of course, got most of the credit as well for being part of that journey, but Yamal and Williams was also part of that too. The way how he reads the game, how he glides past players, it is Messi-like. His decision making at his age is Messi-like, and his numbers may not be there yet, but I can guarantee you that it will. This year so far, his goals and assists may not be incredible, but I would say for his age that they are. But in terms of when you compare him to, let's say, of course right now Mohamed Salah, it's like, well, they're worlds apart. He's only scored 6 goals in the league this year. What's he even on about? But I don't know, man. I think it's just when you just watch him play, he's just beyond everyone else in the pitch for me. But maybe inconsistency because of his age is a factor. Of course, against Dortmund for the first leg, he was extraordinary, like extraordinary performance. And against Dortmund for the second leg, he wasn't completely the best, was he? But I'll put my line in the sand right now that when he's on it, which is most likely he's on it than he's not on it, he is absolutely extraordinary. So, put my hand up and say that I am officially in the Lamine Yamal cult. But let's go into what will probably be the actual head-to-head for who will win the Ballon d'Or. And it kind of does depend on who will win the Champions League as well. Realistically, right now, you're looking at 3 players that can win the Ballon d'Or. You're looking at Mohamed Salah, you're looking at Rafinha, and you're looking at, maybe surprising to some people, but also Ousmane Dembele as well. Now, yes, it is surprising that in this day and age, Mbappe at Real Madrid, he's not even in the top 3. Mbappe won't win the Ballon d'Or this year, but people may still say, if you're not looking at stats, and Mbappe is, still potentially the best player in the world in terms of his ability. Ability-wise, is Mbappe the best player in the world? He can be. He absolutely can be. Just right now, he's been just kind of too hot and off the boil. And there's always going to be a conversation of, oh, Harry Kane should always be in that conversation because Harry Kane just scores goals. Lewandowski's also been great for Barcelona this year, but, you know, they've almost got some of a Haaland to them where, like, yeah, they score goals, but what else do they do other than score goals? Well, you could definitely say that Kane does a lot more than score goals. And I want to give Harry Kane his flowers because, yet again, he's going to score another 30-plus goals in a league season while also putting in assists as well, and yet he's never really spoken about in these conversations. It's like, because he doesn't win a trophy, no one cares. It's so sad. This year, 41 games, 34 goals, 12 assists, 10 goals in the Champions League as well this year in 12 games, 23 goals and 27 games in Bundesliga, but because it's a Bundesliga, people don't care, but still got 10 goals in 12 games in the Champions League still. And Lautaro Martinez is also kind of in that Lewandowski Kane camp where, like, yeah, they score goals, but they just never really get spoken about. Again, clutch player for Inter Milan, could win Serie A, could win the Champions League as well, the semi-finals, but you never hear his name. So let's look at the top three here. So Salah, Rafinha, and Ousmane Dembele. For me, Ousmane Dembele's been, much better, looking like the player that he once thought he was meant to be back at Barcelona when he joined from Dortmund, and he's been given a new lease of life over at PSG in Paris, and it's great to see. This year, he's had a consistency, he's had some clutch moments, 32 goals in 42 games, 11 assists, but I kind of feel like there's always the Mbappe factor here in terms of the fact that he's playing in Ligue 1, that I feel like that will be a factor that people may consider. 7 goals in 12 games, Champions League, and of course, they are, in the Champions League semi-final too. Dembele is a great player. I don't think he's the best player in the world right now. And then there's Rafinha. Of course, I did not expect this from him. He's having one of the greatest seasons that he's ever had, and one of the best Brazilians that's had a season at Barcelona too. Whereas I believe Yamal, I think everything goes through him and Pedri. When it comes to Rafinha, he's just a clinical, like, master at the end of it, alongside Lewandowski, of course, but he's really upped up his game here, especially in the Champions League, which is the most important thing when it comes to actually winning the Ballon d'Or. 12 goals, 7 assists in 12 games in the Champions League is remarkable, by the way. Of course, keep in mind, there is more games in Champions League, there's 2 more games, so keep that in mind. However, La Liga, 13 goals, 10 assists, so this year in all competitions, 28 goals, 22 assists in 47 games. Very, very impressive return, of course. Rafinha in the game against Dortmund, in the game against Bayern Munich, in the game against Benfica, twice in the game against Dortmund. Barcelona, of course, onto the treble, got Copa del Rey final against Real Madrid. I'm looking like they should win La Liga. If Barcelona win the treble, Rafinha may be the man that they'll look at the most that's won it. But I must say, they also need to look at Lewandowski, that also scored 11 goals in Champions League as well. That's scored the most goals, I think, to any person in Europe right now. But as you said earlier, people like Kane and Lewandowski, because they're not as attractive or exciting to watch, they just seem to get forgotten about. I mean, even Pedri should also be mentioned as well. Because he doesn't get the stats and the numbers of the goals and assists, people may forget about him, but he is the beating heart of that Barcelona team. He is an absolute joy to watch. And then there's Mo Salah. And this is the thing, right? Mo Salah should win the Ballon d'Or. Mo Salah is the best player in the world right now in terms of what he's doing. He's in, people will say, the tougher Liga, the Premier League compared to La Liga. People may have their own opinions, but in terms of the stats, even if it's the same level, La Liga and Premier League, make your own opinion on that, he's still miles ahead in nearly every stat other than the Champions League. It's not like he's having like a good season. He's having an extraordinary season. Like 27 goals, 18 assists, so he's not just scoring goals but also creating it in 32 games. That is over 45 goal contributions in the league of the Premier League in 32 games. Champions League only got 3 goals and 4 assists in 9 games. Of course, he was sent out by PSG in that. People would say that he went missing in those 2 PSG games. One thing that may also hold him back is the fact that people may say that he also went missing in the final against Newcastle for the EFL Cup, which people will hold that against him. Like, Mohamed Salah didn't score or assist for like 2 games, and people felt like it was the end of the world. That's what people expect from him. Liverpool will go on to win the Premier League, of course, which is a massive part of it, and that will, of course, be all they'll win this year. If you look at importance, Liverpool are not the same team without Salah. I think Lewandowski deserves a shout as well. He does deserve credit here. In the league, of course, this year, 25 goals in 30 games. People kind of just expect that from him. And also in the Champions League, he scored just as many goals as Rafinha has, of course. 11 goals in 12 games in Champions League. So Lewandowski also can deserve a shout as well. But comment down below your thoughts on who you think should win the Ballon d'Or and who do you think's best player in the world right now. And I still love Yamal, you already know that. But who I think should win the Ballon d'Or, I still think Salah should, but we all know the Champions League, and it will basically be based on who wins that. Barcelona wins it, you know who will win that. PSG wins it, Dembele may have a chance. If Arsenal wins it, I mean, because Saka missed out part of the season due to injury, I don't really know, but maybe you could see a defender. But because of how Arsenal did in the league in the end, and they kind of fell off in the end, maybe they won't. So comment down below your thoughts, like, subscribe, and I'll see you boys next time. See ya.